Thank you, Helena. I just want to say thanks to UN Watch for making this possible as well, to have Rosa Maria Paya and Regis Iglesias and so many other Cuban dissidents over the years to talk about the Cuban reality here in Geneva. I wanted to conclude, and I think this being the fifth time that we're gathered, it's an opportunity to reflect a bit on what's been going on and some of the longer trends and how it fits in with what we've discussed today. Unfortunately, the human rights situation around the world has not improved over the past 5 years, and in many instances has worsened. And the obvious question is why? Cuban democratic opposition activist Osvaldo Payá Sardiñas, when awarded the Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought on December 17th of 2002, made an important observation, and that was that the cause of human rights is a single cause, just as the people of the world are a single people. The talk today is of globalization, but we must state that unless there is global solidarity, not only human rights, but also the right to remain human will be jeopardized. I believe that the past decade has demonstrated the truth that he was right about that statement. Freedom House, in its 2013 report, Freedom in the World, documents the 7th consecutive year in which there have been more declines than gains in freedom worldwide. Worse still, the report demonstrates that there is a stepped-up campaign of persecution by dictators that specifically targeted civil society organizations and independent media. These have been years of challenge for human rights and democracy activists around the world. Listening to the testimony today in 2013 from journalists, human rights activists, and victims of rights violations in Cuba, Iran, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Mauritania, Morocco, North Korea, Russia, Sudan, Syria, and Tibet should shock the conscience of any reasonable person. Elie Wiesel's aphorism, "For the dead and the living we must bear witness," has been put into practice over the course of these 5 summits and especially today. Genocide, slavery, concentration camps, extrajudicial killings, brutalization of women, rape as a military weapon, and the silencing of dissenting voices is something that's taking place today, not just a sad, bizarre chapter of our past. At the same time, despite the horrors, there is cause for hope. During the first session this morning, Women's Rights, the Struggle for Human Dignity, I was struck by what Marina Nemat, a former prisoner of conscience in Iran, who had been repeatedly tortured and raped, she made an observation that went to the heart of the challenge for human rights when she remarked that victimhood is not a perpetual state. A victim can become a torturer, and a torturer can become a victim. The tables can be turned. And then she went on and added, "They will turn for me. One day they will place the cable in my hands, and I will put it down, because justice and revenge are 2 very different concepts." Too many people believe that immoral and unjust means can lead to moral and just ends. This is the key idea that, combined with the impulse for revenge, can lead a victim to become a torturer, in a cycle that generates greater levels of barbarism and inhumanity. Breaking the cycle of bloodshed and revenge involves pursuing justice and accountability. In other words, ending impunity. To do this, the right for victims and their loved ones to know the truth is a fundamental concern to end impunity. This is a theme that has been heard throughout the day, and especially from Marina Nemat, Colette Brackman, Mukesh Kapila, Regis Iglesias, Rosa Maria Paya, and others. But in addition to that, I was also struck by Mukhtar Mai, the first speaker this morning from Pakistan, who outlined her harrowing account of overcoming great horrors, including being sentenced to gang rape, and managed to build a school to educate hundreds of women. And she continues her struggle for justice, not revenge, stating, "If a woman's life is in danger, we can help them out. I want to make a change, and this will happen with education." This is part of what activists for nonviolence call a constructive program. The other common point heard throughout the day is that military solutions are not real solutions. Syrian activist Randa Kassis explained that in Syria, a military solution is not a real solution. There is only one real solution, that is a political solution. Marina Nemat repeated several times that the primary problem in Iran was not the nuclear program, but the systematic violation of human rights, and that she was against military action in Iran. Former Cuban prisoner of conscience, Regis Iglesias, explained that he did not hate the dictatorship in Cuba, but at the same time that he did not fear it and was seeking change using nonviolent means. Rosa Maria Payá, whose father, Osvaldo Payá Sardinas, died under very suspicious circumstances, along with Harold Cepero on July 22nd of 2012, recognized the commonality between the different activists who had spoken earlier in the day in favor of nonviolent change. During her presentation, she quoted her father from his Strasbourg address to the European Parliament in December of 2002, in which he stated, "The first victory we can claim is that our hearts are free of hatred. Hence, we say to those who persecute us and who try to dominate us, you are my brother, I do not hate you, but you are not going to dominate me by fear. I do not wish to impose my truth, nor do I wish you to impose yours on me. We are going to seek the truth together." Another important theme during this summit is the importance of citizenry to be active and vigilant. Marina Nemat explained the importance of holding politicians accountable. If you don't maintain democracy, it's going to die. It's up to every single one of us to pressure politicians to do the right thing, quote unquote. Dickey Choyang of the Central Tibetan Administration called on free peoples to have the courage to stand and be the change we want to see happen. This leads inevitably to the need for freedom of expression and critical voices to expose injustice and hold the politicians accountable. The Moroccan blogger that we just heard, Qassem El Ghazali, outlined the importance of freedom of expression and of religion within the Islamic world and the challenges still faced in Morocco. Pyotr Versilov, the husband of Nadezhda Tolokonikova, apologies if I got it wrong, one of the jailed Pussy Riot musicians, also spoke about the madness of Putin's Russia and the absence of freedom of expression in Russia and the linkage of the Orthodox Church with the Russian authoritarian regime and the need to break that relationship. Marina Nemat is right. Silence is a weapon of mass destruction, as is indifference to injustice. However, the opposite is also true. Making noise and denouncing injustice using nonviolent means and not succumbing to hate is a weapon of mass construction. However, throughout the day we have heard from speakers of different parts of the world and of different religious traditions or even non-religious traditions that injustice and human rights violations need to be confronted by nonviolent means without succumbing to hating one's adversary. Therefore, I want to conclude joining with Regis and Rosa Maria and invite you to sign a petition that they have on hand demanding an independent and transparent investigation into the deaths of Osvaldo Payá Sardinas and Harold Cepero Escalante on July 22nd of 2012. The document is available in draft form for your signature. Thank you very much.